Hello everyone. How's everybody doing? As I said earlier that I was going to go live, it is a little after 6. I'm sorry. Well, for who don't know, I am Gail McDowell, right out of the Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina area. Hi, Carolyn. Hey, my sister Sandra. Hey, Joan. I'm finally going to share, guys, because I know so many people have been wondering what really happened to cause my daughter's death, right? So, hi, Naima. Hi, Angie. Hi, Shonda. Woo. I don't know why I'm feeling jittery, guys. But, hello, Pastor Vanessa Mullins. I'm all nervous and everything. So listen, I actually wanted to share what actually happened with my daughter Candace. I've been holding it for 4 years, right? So I talked to my son. Hi, Marlene. I talked to my son, and I asked him, was he okay with me sharing? And he said yes. So I'm going to share with you guys. I'm going to lead up to that. I'm not going to keep you guys long, but so many people have asked, and then there were some people, well, there was two. Well, I know this one man had inboxed me when my daughter passed away, and he said it probably was drugs, right? So no, it wasn't drugs. No, it wasn't drugs. So I'm just gonna lead up to it, guys. I don't know why I'm feeling nervous. I do lives all the time, I guess. Well, today is March the 31st. Marks 4 years that my daughter has been gone, right? So I'm gonna give you a little. I'm gonna back it up a little bit and go into what happened to her, and I believe that this can help somebody. Because of course her dying wasn't in vain. We do know that. And I think what happened to her, by me speaking out today, if you have a family member that's going through a certain thing, then this will help you to help them, right? So anyway, first we're going to start in July 4th, 2008, I think it was. We were supposed to be going to Japan, to be stationed in Japan, and we was at my mom's house in Virginia Beach, right? I just want to give up to what I've been through in the last couple of years, guys, right? We were supposed to leave that night to fly out to Japan, and on that night, my father was laying on the couch, and I was sitting at his head. So his head was right at me, right? So anyway, guys, on that night, my father had a stroke. I mean, just like that. He was laughing, and then he just had a stroke, right? And my mom and we did CPR on my dad. So he did live 8 months after that, right? So that's a tragedy that I had to go through, being there and have to do CPR on my father, right? And when he passed away, guys, it was a hurt. Like, I thought nothing could be worse than that, right? When I lost my father. And, keeping in mind, my father, he and my mom was married over 40-some years. So he was my father in the house growing up. He had 5 daughters, and we all felt like we was his special. We were special. We was his favorite, right? That's how much love he had to give each one of us, because we felt like we were his favorite. So my dad was everything. So when I lost him, oh my God, I thought nothing could get worse. Hi, Kanita. So 3 years later, guys, I lost my husband. My husband I met him when I was 13. And I actually fell in love with him by the age 18, right? So he was my first and only boyfriend, and I married him, and we were married for 28 years. Woo, we were married for 28 years. So when my husband passed, I was there with him, in the house, right there with him, sitting at his bedside. And I thought it was hard when I lost my father. When I lost my husband, woo, that was hard, guys. That was like I lost my best friend. I lost a person who I could tell anything to, and he wouldn't tell nobody, right? So that was hard. It was a different hurt from when I lost my father, when I lost my husband. It was a hurt like, oh God, why are you doing this to me, right? And you guys, you're gonna notice that people who do know me, I laugh a lot. I mean, I really believe I have this happy spirit about myself. I laugh a lot, and sometimes I laugh to keep from crying. That's a song, right? But that's the truth. Sometimes I do laugh to keep from crying. So, and then about 3 years, I think 8 months later, I lost my daughter. Let me tell you a little about my daughter. I was close to my daughter. I wasn't her friend. I was her mother, right? And she treated me with great respect. And if you knew Candace, I'm sure she treated you with great respect. Hey, Jessica. She was just a good girl. And not because she's gone. I told her when she was here, she was beautiful. She was talented. She could sing, right? I started doing photography. She was my model. Every time I wanted to take pictures, I got her. She was, when we went to church on Sundays, she would sit by me. Most kids don't sit by their mom. She sat by me, right? So, and we had this relationship where she could talk to me, she could share with me, but I want her friend. I want that friend where she can say anything to me and anything around me, you know? She was just very respectful. She was talented. She loved to sing. She loved writing music. She would come in my room and say, Mom, listen to this song I wrote. And she would, you know, sing her song, right? So, in 2014, December 2014, my daughter was complaining of her ears hurting. So my daughter was a type 1 diabetic. So she had to take insulin. Everything she ate, she had to take insulin. She couldn't eat anything without taking insulin. And she was diagnosed type 1 diabetic at age 10. And by the time she got into her 20s, guys, you know, she's older and she didn't take her insulin like she's supposed to. But, you know, I still got on her. She still took it. And so she was complaining of an ear infection, her ear hurting. So she went to the doctor and they gave her something for an ear infection. And so by her being a diabetic, she didn't have the normal ear infection like we have, right? She had an ear infection that was on the outside. So if you touched her ear, it hurt. So she kept saying, Mom, my ear hurts so bad. And I was like, Candace, give the medicine the time to work. So listen, guys. They gave her so many medicines for her ear infection, right? So she was taking it. And the next day was Sunday. I had to go to church. So I knocked on her door. I said, Candace, are you going to church? And she said, no, Mom, I'm not feeling good. So she opened the door. She said, my ear still hurt real bad. So, okay, I went to church, guys. And when I go to church, I was going to Abundant Life, right? I never had a problem going up for prayer. Never, ever. But this particular day, I wanted to go up and get prayer for Candace, you know, all because of her earache, right? But I couldn't move. They did a prayer call and I couldn't move, right? So it was over. But I still ended up going up there to get, you know, to have them pray for Candace because she was suffering so bad with her ear hurting. And God, you know, the devil is so busy. By the time I got home, I had to get something to open my daughter's door. She was on the floor. Her eyes was rolled back in the back of her head. She was still breathing. And she got to the hospital. And all my church family was there with me, right? I'm trying to not, I know you guys, I'm trying to not be so long. But I want you guys to understand what led up to what happened to her, right? So by the time she got to the ambulance, got her to the hospital, she was still breathing, but they wanted to put the tubing down her throat to help her breathe a little better. They were saying that she was in a diabetic coma. They were saying she wasn't going to make it through the night. But because I got up and asked the church to pray for my daughter, she made it through the night. They had to medevac her in the helicopter to Greenville, to the specialist, right? Where she stayed with the tubings down her throat. I really never understood why they had to put the tubing down her throat, because she was breathing. My pastor, Vanessa Mullen, she's up here. She was there with me. Candace was breathing, so I never understood why they had to do the tubing. And my sister says, "Okay, take your time." So she came through that, guys. You know, she came through that. I stayed at that hospital. I actually got a hotel room right across the street, so I was there. So she came out of that. I came to the hospital. She was up in the chair. She didn't remember anything, right? She didn't remember anything. So we were able to take her home January 2015. She came home. Family came down. We did Christmas and everything. But she wasn't breathing right. So I said, "Candace, let's go and just get your breathing checked out." So we go to the emergency room, and they keep her. They said that she have a hospital-acquired pneumonia. So they treated her for the pneumonia. She was in the hospital again for about a week. She came home. So ever since that incident in December where they put the tubing down her throat, she was back and forth in the hospital saying, "Mommy, I can't breathe. Mom, I can't breathe good." She would say that she said she felt like something was in her throat. So we went to Onslow Hospital. We went to the neighbor hospital. We were back and forth. So I would pat her in the back, and she said that made her feel better, right? She did that several times, guys. Where she would rent in my room at least twice a week. "Mom, I can't breathe." And so whenever we went to the hospital, they would put the thing on her finger, and they would say her oxygen level is fine. My connection had failed. Well, anyway, they did everything to see what was wrong with her breathing. And they always send us back home and said, "Well, her oxygen level is good." And she would say, "But it feels like something in my throat." So the last time we went to the hospital was in March. It was the last week of March. And she went to the hospital, and she said that she couldn't breathe. She felt like something was in her throat. So the nurse said to her, "Well, do you feel like there's food in your throat? You need to cough it up?" So I was like, "Well, if it's food, that food's been there for a couple of weeks. So no, it's not food." And Candace would say, "It just feels like something's stuck." She said she could get air out, but she couldn't get air in good. So they told her that she had asthma. Gave her an asthma pump. And what they said, well, in the morning, they're going to have ENT to go down her throat. That's ear, nose, and throat. And we were like, "Yeah, finally, they're going to look in her throat and they're going to see what's wrong." So in the meanwhile, guys, they're in the room asking Candace about her insurance. They're saying that she don't have no insurance. And I'm the one who took care of her insurance. It was $287 a month. And it was coming out of my account every month faithfully, right? And some kind of way, somebody keyed in the wrong number, which made her look like she didn't have insurance. So I had to go downstairs and talk. This leads up to something. That is why I'm telling you this. I had to go downstairs and talk to the people. I actually showed the lady my account, guys. I pulled up my phone. I said, "I have enough money in my account to pay her insurance over 100 times. So what happened?" So when she looked, it looked like somebody keyed in the wrong number. So what happened was, when they thought she didn't have any insurance, they did not do the ENT. They sent her paperwork down to the ENT, had them look at her x-rays and everything, and got the advice that way. But the very next day, when she got out of the hospital, she had a follow-up appointment with her regular doctor for her ear infection, right? So when they found out she was in the hospital, and so her regular doctor said to her, she said, "Oh, Candace, I know what it might be. When you had, I can't remember what it was, but when they went down your throat, they may have ruptured your vocal cords, right?" I said, and she said, "That's why you're feeling like something's in your throat." But this particular doctor, she said, "Well, for now, we're going to give you this." You have trouble, it keep repeating. Is it messing up? Are you guys hearing me? Because Lynn's saying that she have trouble, it keep repeating. Is it working for you guys? Somebody else, please comment. I'm in a hotel room. I guess I could move in another area. It's working, Kiana? Okay. Okay, so they hear me just fine. So when we went to her, once in a while it freezes. When we went to her regular doctor, and her doctor said, well, when they went to put the tubing down your throat, they may have ruptured your vocal cords. So I said, well, can we just go across the street to the ENT? Because ENT was across the street. Can we just do it as an emergency? She said, well, for now, we're going to give her another inhaler. She said, we're going to give her another inhaler. Since she already have an appointment with ENT on Tuesday. So this was Tuesday. She had an appointment with ENT on the following Tuesday. Because when she was in the hospital, when they thought she didn't have any insurance, they just sent her paperwork to the ENT that was in the hospital. But they scheduled her appointment to go to ENT, right? So me as a mother, I said, it's right across the street. Can we just go and let them look at her throat? And she said, well, her appointment is right around the corner, so we'll just give her this albuterol. Give her this other inhaler. Guys, we got home. Me and my daughter, we watched TV. She was all excited. She was like, okay, yeah, now we're going to go to ENT. They're going to find out what's wrong with me. She said, I knew it was something about my throat because the doctor said vocal cords, right? So she was excited because she was getting frustrated every time she go to the hospital and they couldn't find what was wrong. They'll find something that she didn't even come there for, right? So on March the 31st, that was her doctor's appointment. We came home. She was excited. Me and her watched the show, If Loving You Is Wrong. That's why I never forget. It was on a Tuesday. We was watching If Loving You Was Wrong, and she always liked laying in my bed, and I took a picture of her and Tinkerbell because they were so cute laying in my bed, right? And when the show went off, she said, well, good night, Mommy. I love you. I'm going to bed. I'm going to my own room. Since you won't let me sleep in here all night, I said, good night, Candace. I love you too. So she went out my room. Probably about 15 minutes later, 10:30, she came running in my room. Mom, I can't breathe. Pat me on the back. Whew. So as I usually do, I pat her on the back. And she sat down on the floor and she cried. And I said, Candace, are you all right? And she said, yes, Mommy, just let me sit here for a minute. So she goes back out to her room. She comes right back in. She said, Mommy, I can't breathe. Pat me on the back. And they say when you talking, they say if you talking, you can't breathe, right? But she was talking and she said, Mom, I can't breathe. So I pat her on the back again. She said, Mom, call 911. And so she's in my hand. I'm petting her and I'm holding on to her. And I said, Candace, talk. And she goes, and she just go to the floor so gracefully. And all of a sudden, her lips are turning blue. I'm like, I can't believe this. What? And right away, I noticed that something about me that when something happens, I don't panic right away. I just go into whatever mode I need to go into, right? So I automatically started doing CPR on her. I automatically started doing CPR. And I pick up my phone and I dial 911. And I tell her my daughter's not breathing. And so they're going to try to give me instructions on how to do CPR. And I said, I've already started CPR. And the fire department was like maybe 2 minutes up the street, right? So she said, if your door is locked, take a break, go open your door. So I stopped CPR. I went to open my door. By the time I went down there, I unlocked my door. I came back upstairs and I continued to give her compressions, right? And then I heard them come in. They come in the house. And they started doing CPR and they had me to go out the room. So I asked them a lot of questions, Yeah, she's a diabetic. Yeah, she's on this kind of medicines. And so they worked on her for a long time, right? So as they started to take her out the house, I noticed that they did have a trach in her throat. So we go to the hospital, guys, right? And we wait and we wait. And when the doctor come out, she talked to me, and she said, well, we got her breathing, and we did this and we did that. And I'm all happy, like, okay, they got her breathing. I know when they left the house, she was breathing with the thing in her throat, right? So the doctor said, yeah, we got her breathing, but when we went to put the tubing back in, her vocal cords were so swollen that we couldn't open her airway. And we hate to tell you, we're sorry to tell you, but your daughter didn't make it. So it didn't register because you had my hopes up and you said you got her breathing, right? And when they said she didn't make it, man, it was a dream. I could not believe it, right? I even said I wasn't going to cry doing this. Okay, whoo. So her vocal cords were so swollen, right? So when we got her autopsy, it said that when the paramedics got her breathing and got her to the hospital, once she got to the hospital, the breathing things were taken out. So the question was, okay, if everything was fine, why did you take the tubing out? So she kept complaining about something being in her throat. So all the time, her vocal cords were just swelling up day by day until it swelled that she couldn't breathe. So had they looked down her throat, they would have saw that her vocal cords were swelling, and they could have done whatever needed to be done, right? I know God don't make no mistakes. What happens is supposed to happen. But I still say these things. I believe sometimes things can be prevented. So, guys, I even ended up having a doctor's appointment. We went to the same doctor. I had a doctor's appointment maybe 2 days after Candace passed. But the day that she passed, I called her doctor. And I said to her, I said, Candace passed. Her vocal cords were swollen. And you know what she said to me? I thought that what it might have been. So why didn't you let her go over to ENT? Right? So when I had my appointment with my doctor, there was 2 doctors over there. We went to both of them. Candace did. When I came in, guys, the doctor told me, he said, don't ask no questions. He said, because we're humans and sometimes we miss it. He was shocked that she passed away. 2 days later, the paramedics called me. I still have their voice message. Hi, Miss McDowell. We're calling to check on Candace. Is there anything we can do for her? How's she doing? I said she didn't make it. They were surprised. So, y'all, I did get a lawyer. They did look at the autopsy. They did find discrepancies in there. They did have questions. But I wasn't ready to answer them. I wasn't ready to answer all their questions. Candace's phone, they said Candace's phone speaks for her. In her phone, she texts her friend and say, I think it's my doctor thinks it's my vocal cord. Yeah, they're going to look in my throat on Tuesday. So her phone spoke for her. But because I wasn't ready to talk about it, I couldn't handle the lawyers keep calling me. I couldn't do it. So today I'm saying, if your family member ever go through having to get a tubing down their throat and your loved one complaining of they can't breathe or something's in their throat, I mean, you better insist harder than I did that they look and see what it is. So that is what happened to my daughter. I truly believe to this day that the doctors made a mistake. And guys, I know everybody say I'm strong. It's not that I'm strong. It's just that when I feel down, I know who to call on. I know how to call them, and I know how loud. So my favorite thing when I'm going through is I say, Lord, help me. Lord, help me. And that seems to work. I just say, Lord, help me. Lord, help me. And sometimes it's still so hard. It's still so hard to believe that she's gone, because when I look at her videos, woo. So I know that her spirit will live on. We will continue to say her name, Candace Monique McDowell. She lived a good life. I don't think too many people have anything bad to say about her. I will tell y'all this is hard. So before I go, I'm also going to say another thing some people do, and they don't realize that they're doing it, is when someone loses their loved one. Like if I tell somebody I lost my daughter, and they say to me, I know how you feel, I lost my cousin. It ain't the same. So if you lost your father, I know how you feel, because I lost my father. If you lost your husband, I know how you feel, because I lost my husband. So guys, thanks for watching. I just wanted to share because people ask what happened to her. So that's what happened. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go for now. And I just pray that everybody have an awesome and amazing week. I'm fine. I'm reading comments. I'm sorry, guys. So I love you guys. I love you. I love you. Thanks for tuning in. Please feel free to share the video. Just keep in mind, if you ever have a loved one to get any tubings down their throat, complaining that they can't breathe or something's in their throat, you insist that they look. All right, guys. Love you. Bye for now.